The phone buzzed in Simone's purse as she sat in the corner booth of Rosewoods, one of the most expensive restaurants in the city. She pulled it out, expecting a work email, but instead saw her husband's name flash across the screen. Brandon, stuck at Mom's for dinner. She made that pot roast you love. Miss you, baby. Love you. Simone stared at the message. Then she lifted her eyes and looked directly across the dining room, 3 tables away, where her husband of 7 years sat in a navy blue suit she'd pressed that morning. His hand was intertwined with a woman in a red dress. A woman who was definitely not his mother. A woman whose lips were currently pressed against his. The restaurant hummed with quiet conversation, the clink of silverware against fine china, the pop of champagne corks. Soft jazz played from hidden speakers. Crystal chandeliers cast a gentle glow over white tablecloths. Everything was elegant, refined, beautiful. Everything except what Simone was witnessing. She'd come here tonight to meet a potential client, a developer interested in her architectural designs for a new downtown complex. The client had canceled 30 minutes ago, but Simone had decided to stay and enjoy a glass of wine. She'd earned it after the week she'd had, finishing 3 proposals and managing a difficult contractor. Now she sat frozen, watching her husband laugh at something this woman said. The woman touched his face. He caught her hand and kissed her palm. Simone's hands didn't shake. Her breathing stayed even. 7 years of marriage and she'd thought she knew him. She'd thought their life was good. Not perfect but good. They'd talked about starting a family next year. They'd just booked a vacation to Jamaica for their anniversary in 2 months. Her phone sat in her hand, the message still glowing on the screen. She could make a scene. She could walk over there. She could scream, throw water, 'cause a spectacle. But Simone had been raised better than that. Her mother had always said dignity was something no one could take from you. You had to give it away. And Simone wasn't giving anything away tonight. She opened her camera app. Zoomed in slightly. The image captured Brandon clearly, his face turned toward the woman, both of them visible in profile. The woman's hand rested on his chest. His arm wrapped around her shoulders. Simone attached the photo to a text message. Simone, enjoy dinner with your mom. She pressed send. Then she took a sip of her wine and waited. 15 seconds. 20. She counted them in her head while she watched. Brandon's phone must have been on the table because he glanced down at it. His whole body went rigid. He snatched the phone up, nearly knocking over his water glass. Simone watched his face drain of color even from 3 tables away. He looked at the screen. Looked at his companion. Looked at the screen again. Then his head whipped around, scanning the restaurant like a trapped animal looking for escape routes. Simone raised her wine glass in a small salute when his eyes found hers. The phone slipped from his fingers. The sound of it hitting the floor was audible even over the restaurant's ambient noise. Several nearby diners turned to look. Brandon stood up so fast his chair scraped backward. The woman in the red dress looked confused, reaching for his arm, but he pulled away. He started walking toward Simone's table. She could see panic written all over his face. Simone pulled 2 20s from her wallet and placed them on the table, more than enough for her wine and a generous tip. She stood, picked up her purse and walked toward the entrance. Her heels clicked steadily on the marble floor. Simone, wait. Brandon's voice carried across the restaurant, urgent and desperate. She didn't stop. Didn't turn around. She handed her valet ticket to the attendant at the front desk and stepped outside into the cool October evening. The city stretched out before her, lights twinkling in the growing darkness. Brandon burst through the door behind her. Simone, please just let me explain. She turned to face him now, her expression calm. Explain what? That you're not at your mother's house? That's already quite clear. It's not what it looks like. Really? She tilted her head. Because it looks like you're on a date with another woman while lying to your wife about your location. Did I miss something? I can explain everything. He reached for her hand but she stepped back. Don't touch me. A couple walked past them into the restaurant, curiosity plain on their faces. Brandon noticed and lowered his voice. Can we go somewhere and talk? Please? There's nothing to talk about tonight. I saw what I saw. You lied about where you were. That's all I need to know right now. The valet pulled up in her silver sedan. Simone tipped him and slid into the driver's seat. Brandon stood by the door, preventing her from closing it. Where are you going? Away from you. Simone, come on. We can work this out. Just come home and we'll talk. She looked up at him. Really looked at him. The man she'd married. The man she'd built a life with. The man who'd stood in a church and promised to love and cherish her. Who'd held her hand through her father's funeral. who'd celebrated every career milestone with her. Move away from the car, Brandon. Baby, please. Move away from the car. Something in her tone made him step back. Simone closed the door, locked it, and pulled away from the curb. In her rearview mirror, she saw him standing on the sidewalk, his phone pressed to his ear. Probably calling her. She felt her phone buzz in her purse but didn't reach for it. She drove through the city streets, not toward their house in the suburbs but toward downtown. Her mind felt oddly clear. No tears. No hysterics. Just a strange, calm clarity. After 20 minutes, she pulled into the parking lot of the Grandview Hotel. It was a nice place, modern and clean. She'd stayed here once for a conference. She walked into the lobby and approached the front desk. "I need a room for tonight, please." The young man behind the counter smiled. "Of course. How many nights?" "Just one for now." "Will anyone be joining you?" "No. Just me." She filled out the paperwork, handed over her credit card, and took the key card. Room 412. She rode the elevator up, walked down the quiet hallway, and let herself into the room. It was simple. Clean white linens. A desk. A chair. A television. A window overlooking the city. Simone set her purse on the desk and sat on the edge of the bed. Her phone had been buzzing constantly. She pulled it out. 17 missed calls from Brandon. 9 text messages. "Brandon, where are you? Brandon, please answer. Brandon, I'm so sorry. Brandon, it was a mistake. Brandon, she doesn't mean anything. Brandon, please come home. Brandon, we need to talk. Brandon, I love you. Brandon, Simone, please." She turned the phone off and plugged it into the charger. Then she walked to the window and looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, Brandon was probably losing his mind. The woman in the red dress was probably confused or angry or both. But Simone felt nothing but that strange clarity. She'd been married for 7 years. She'd been faithful for 7 years. She'd supported Brandon through job changes and family drama. She'd cooked dinners and planned vacations and picked up his dry cleaning and listened to his work problems. And he'd repaid her by lying to her face so he could take another woman to an expensive restaurant. The hurt would come later, she knew. Right now, her mind was too busy cataloging facts, making lists, planning next steps. That's what she did. She was an architect. She solved problems. She built structures from the ground up. She could tear them down too. Simone pulled out her laptop and opened it. Then she opened a new document and titled it, Evidence. She uploaded the photo from her phone, added the timestamp, wrote down the name of the restaurant, the date, the time, the text messages he'd sent, everything. Then she opened her banking app, their joint checking account, their savings account. She started going through transactions, months of them, looking for patterns. It didn't take long to find them. Rosewoods. 4 times in the past 2 months. She'd never been there with him. A jewelry store. A purchase of $800 3 weeks ago. She'd received no jewelry. A hotel in the neighboring city. 2 weekend charges in the past 3 months. He told her both times he was at work conferences. Simone's jaw tightened. She kept scrolling, kept documenting. Each charge. Each lie. Each betrayal. By the time she closed her laptop, it was past midnight. She'd compiled a list of suspicious charges totaling over $6,000. Money from their joint account. Money she'd contributed to from her salary. She brushed her teeth with the hotel's complimentary toothbrush, washed her face, and changed into the hotel robe. She'd have to buy clothes tomorrow. She'd left the house that morning expecting a normal day, but nothing was normal anymore. Simone lay in the hotel bed, staring at the ceiling. The room was quiet except for the hum of the air conditioning. No tears came. Not yet. She felt hollowed out, like someone had scooped out her insides and left just a shell. Tomorrow she would figure out her next move. Tonight she just needed to breathe. To exist in this space between her old life and whatever came next. She thought about the woman in the red dress. Who was she? How long had this been going on? Did she know Brandon was married? Did she care? Simone pushed the thoughts away. They didn't matter right now. What mattered was what she was going to do about it. And she was going to do something. She just needed time to plan. Time to think. Time to build her case the same way she built buildings on paper first, with careful measurements and precise calculations. Brandon had made his choice tonight. Now Simone was going to make hers. She closed her eyes and finally, mercifully, sleep came. Simone woke at 6 in the morning, same as always. Her body maintained its routine even when her life had exploded. For a moment, still drowsy, she reached for Brandon's side of the bed. Then her hand touched hotel sheets and everything came rushing back. The restaurant. The kiss. The lies. She sat up and turned on her phone. 32 missed calls. 26 text messages. 3 voicemails. All from Brandon. She didn't listen to the voicemails. She scrolled through the texts instead. Brandon, where are you? I'm worried sick. Brandon, please just tell me you're safe. Brandon, I know you're upset but we need to talk. Brandon, this is killing me. Brandon, I've been up all night. Brandon, please Simone. The most recent one had come in at 4:47 a.m. I love you. Whatever you're thinking, whatever you're feeling, just remember I love you. We can fix this. Simone deleted them all. Then she called her office and left a message that she wouldn't be in today. Personal emergency. She had sick days saved up. Years of them actually. She never took time off. Next, she searched for women's clothing stores nearby. Found one that opened at 8. She showered using the hotel's tiny soap and shampoo bottles, dried off, and put her clothes from yesterday back on. The blue dress suddenly felt like a costume from a different life. At 7:30, she checked out of the hotel. The morning clerk asked if everything had been satisfactory. Simone said yes. Such a normal question. Such a normal answer. As if her entire existence hadn't shifted on its axis. She drove to a diner and ordered coffee and toast. She couldn't stomach anything more. While she ate, she made a list on her phone. Buy clothes. Find a lawyer. Hire private investigator. Check all financial accounts. Call Rochelle. Rochelle. Her best friend since college. Rochelle, who'd been her maid of honor. Who'd told Simone to trust her gut when Brandon had been distant last year. Simone had brushed it off then. Stress at work, she'd said. He's just tired, she'd said. She'd been so stupid. No. She stopped that thought. She'd been trusting. That wasn't stupidity. That was what you did in a marriage. You trusted your partner. Brandon had broken that trust. That was on him. Not on her. At 8, she walked into the clothing store and bought essentials. Jeans. A green sweater. Underwear. A jacket. Comfortable shoes. The saleswoman asked if she was going on a trip. Simone said yes. In a way it was true. By 9, she was sitting in her car in the parking lot, looking up divorce attorneys. She found one with good reviews, a woman named Patricia Holloway. Her office opened at 9:30. Simone called the moment the clock ticked over. Holloway Law Office, this is Jennifer. I need to speak with Patricia Holloway about a divorce. Of course. Do you have an appointment? No, but this is urgent. My husband is cheating. I caught him yesterday. I have proof. There was a pause. Hold please. Simone waited. Hold music played. Something classical. Peaceful. Strange soundtrack to the end of a marriage. This is Patricia Holloway. Ms. Holloway, my name is Simone Fletcher. I need a divorce attorney. My husband cheated. I have photographic evidence. And I think he's been stealing from our joint accounts. Can you come in this morning? I have a cancellation at 10. I'll be there. Patricia's office was in a downtown building 15 floors up with a view of the river. The waiting room had leather chairs and abstract art on the walls. Jennifer, the receptionist, offered her coffee. Simone accepted. At exactly 10, Patricia opened her door. She was a black woman in her 50s, gray streaking through her natural hair, wearing a maroon suit that looked expensive and professional. Mrs. Fletcher, come in. Simone followed her into a spacious office. Patricia gestured to a chair across from her desk and they both sat. Tell me what happened. Simone laid it out. The text message. The restaurant. The photo. The lies. She pulled up the image on her phone and showed Patricia. Then she showed her the bank records she'd screen captured last night. The hotel charges. The restaurants. The jewelry. Patricia took notes on a legal pad. When Simone finished, Patricia set down her pen and looked at her directly. Do you want to try to save the marriage? No. You're certain? No counseling? No second chances? I'm certain. Patricia nodded. Good. Women who are certain make my job easier. Now here's what we're going to do. First, we document everything. Every charge, every text, every piece of evidence. Second, we're going to open accounts in your name only and transfer your personal funds. Third, we're going to file for divorce on the grounds of adultery. In this state, that matters for asset division. Fourth, we're going to make sure you get everything you're entitled to. I want more than that. I want him to face consequences. Patricia smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It was the smile of a woman who'd fought many battles and won most of them. Then we'll give him consequences. Tell me about your financial situation. What do you make? What does he make? Simone pulled up her salary information. I'm an architect. I make $90,000 a year. Brandon works in marketing for Colton Industries. He makes $75,000. Assets. We own a house. 3-bedroom in Westfield. We've paid down about a third of the mortgage. We have joint checking and savings about $40,000 total. We both have retirement accounts. I have a car, he has a car. Debts. Just the mortgage and my student loans, about $20,000 left. His are paid off. Patricia wrote it all down. Okay. This is relatively straightforward. No children, which simplifies things. You have proof of adultery. You have evidence of potential financial misconduct. We're in a good position. What's the next step? I'm going to draft divorce papers. That'll take a few days. In the meantime, you need to make some decisions. Do you want to stay in the house or leave? Do you want to continue seeing him at all? Have you told anyone else? I stayed at a hotel last night. I haven't been home since I saw him. And no, I haven't told anyone yet except you. You'll need support. Family? Friends? I have a best friend, Rochelle. And my brother, Jerome. He lives across town. Call them today. You're going to need people in your corner. Patricia stood up. I'll email you a list of documents I need. Bank statements, property deeds, titles, everything. Get those to me as soon as possible. And Simone. Yes. Don't engage with him more than necessary. Don't fight. Don't argue. Keep communication minimal and document everything. Every text, every call, every email. Understood? Simone nodded. Understood. They shook hands and Simone left the office feeling lighter somehow. She had a plan. She had an attorney. She had evidence. This wasn't just rage and hurt anymore. This was action. She sat in her car and called Rochelle. Hey girl, what's up? Aren't you supposed to be at work? Rochelle, I need you. Can you meet me somewhere? What's wrong? You sound weird. Brandon cheated. I caught him. I need to talk. Silence. Then, where are you? I'm coming right now. They met at a park near Rochelle's apartment. It was a cool morning, leaves falling from trees. Children played on swings while their mothers watched. Normal life continued around them. Rochelle arrived in yoga pants and a purple hoodie, her hair in a messy bun. She hugged Simone hard. Tell me everything. So Simone did. She told her about the restaurant, the text, the photo. She told her about the bank records, the hotel charges, the lies. She told her about hiring Patricia Holloway. Rochelle listened to it all without interrupting. When Simone finished, Rochelle took her hand. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have seen it coming. No, don't do that. Don't blame yourself. He's the one who cheated. He's the one who lied. What if I wasn't enough? What if I worked too much or didn't pay enough attention or... Stop it right now. Rochelle's voice was firm. You were a good wife. You were faithful. You were loving. He chose to throw that away. That's on him. Do you hear me? Simone nodded, feeling tears prick her eyes for the first time. She blinked them back. What do you need from me? Rochelle asked. I don't know. I just needed to tell someone. To make it real. It's real. And you're going to get through this. You're the strongest person I know. I don't feel strong. You will. Trust me. Rochelle squeezed her hand. Have you talked to him at all? No. He's called and texted but I haven't responded. Good. Let him sweat. Rochelle's eyes narrowed. Do you know who she is? No. Just some woman in a red dress. We need to find out. Knowledge is power. I'm hiring a private investigator. Good. Find out everything. How long it's been going on. Who she is. What he's told her. All of it. They sat in silence for a moment, watching the children play. Simone wondered if she'd ever have that. Children. A family. She thought she would with Brandon. Now that future had evaporated. Can I stay with you for a few days? Simone asked. I can't go back to the house yet. Of course. Stay as long as you need. I'll help you get your stuff from the house when you're ready. Thank you. That's what friends are for. Simone spent the rest of the day gathering documents. She went to the bank and opened a personal checking account, transferring half of the joint savings into it. The bank teller asked if there was anything wrong. Simone said she just wanted her own account. The teller smiled and said that was smart. Financial independence. If only she knew. Next, Simone found a private investigator online. His name was Thomas Kent. He had 20 years of experience, mostly in infidelity cases. She called his office and explained the situation. I can start tomorrow, Thomas said. I'll need photos of your husband, his work address, his vehicle information. I can get you all of that. My rate is $200 an hour plus expenses. Most cases take about 40 hours to build a solid file. $8,000. Simone didn't hesitate. That's fine. I'll email you a contract. By evening, Simone was exhausted. She'd given Patricia's office all the documents they needed. She'd hired Thomas. She'd moved money. She'd cried in Rochelle's arms for 20 minutes. She'd called her brother Jerome and told him everything. Jerome had been ready to drive to Brandon's workplace and confront him. Simone had talked him down. Not yet. I need to do this legally. Properly. He doesn't deserve proper. Maybe not. But I deserve to do this right. Now she sat on Rochelle's couch, eating takeout Chinese food and trying not to think about Brandon. Her phone had finally stopped buzzing. Either he'd given up or his phone had died. What are you going to do about work? Rochelle asked. Go back Monday. Act normal. I can't let this destroy my career too. You're really not going to give him a chance to explain? Simone looked at her friend. What's to explain? I saw him kissing another woman. He lied about where he was. He's been spending our money on her. What explanation makes any of that okay? None. You're right. I just had to ask. I loved him, Rochelle. I really did. But I love myself more than I love him. And I won't stay with someone who disrespects me like that. Rochelle raised her wine glass. To self-love and new beginnings. Simone clinked her glass against Rochelle's. To new beginnings. She didn't know what those beginnings looked like yet. But she knew they didn't include Brandon. And somehow that knowledge didn't hurt as much as she'd thought it would. Monday morning, Simone walked into her office at Morrison Architecture like nothing had happened. She wore a red blazer and black pants, her hair pulled back in a sleek bun. Professional. Composed. No one would guess her life had imploded 4 days ago. Her colleague Dennis looked up from his computer. Hey Simone, how was your weekend? Fine. Productive. Yours? Same old. Hey, did you finish the Riverside project proposal? Sent it Friday afternoon. Check your email. Normal conversation. Normal work. She could do this. Simone settled at her desk and opened her laptop. She had 3 client meetings today, 2 project reviews, and a mountain of emails. She dove in, grateful for the distraction. At lunch, she sat in her car and called Thomas Kent. I've started surveillance, Thomas said. Your husband left for work at 7:30 this morning. I followed him to Colton Industries. He's been at his desk all morning. Nothing unusual yet. How long until you have something concrete? Give me a week. Maybe 2. I'll follow him after work, check his patterns. If he's still seeing this woman, I'll find out who she is and get you proof. Thank you. One question, Mrs. Fletcher. Do you want to know details? Some clients prefer a summary. Others want everything. It's up to you. Simone thought about it. Did she want to know how many times? Where they went? What they talked about? Everything, she said. I want to know everything. Understood. That evening, Simone went back to Rochelle's apartment. She'd been staying there since Friday, sleeping on the couch. Rochelle had offered her bed, but Simone refused. The couch was fine. She didn't need much sleep anyway. Her phone rang. Brandon's name flashed on the screen. She'd been ignoring his calls for 4 days. But maybe it was time to answer. To establish communication for the divorce proceedings. She answered. Hello. Oh, thank God. Simone, where have you been? I've been losing my mind. I've been around. Can we please talk? Face to face? I need to explain. There's nothing to explain. Please. Just hear me out. 30 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Simone considered. Patricia had said to keep communication minimal, but eventually they'd have to discuss the divorce. Might as well get it over with. Fine. 30 minutes. Tomorrow after work. Meet me at Collins Coffee at 6. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll be there. She hung up before he could say anything else. Rochelle looked up from her laptop. You're meeting him? Just to talk. Or rather, to listen. Then I'm serving him with papers. Want me to come with you? Wait outside. No. I need to do this alone. The next day dragged. Simone couldn't focus on her designs. Her mind kept drifting to the upcoming conversation. What would Brandon say? What lies would he tell? What excuses would he make? At 5:45, she drove to Collins Coffee. It was a neutral location, public enough that he couldn't make a scene. She arrived early, ordered a tea she didn't want, and sat at a corner table. Brandon walked in at exactly 6. He looked terrible. dark circles under his eyes, wrinkled shirt, his hair uncombed. He spotted her and rushed over. "Simone, thank you for coming." She gestured to the chair across from her. 30 minutes. Start talking." He sat down, leaning forward. "First, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What you saw was wrong. I know that. I messed up." "Who is she?" "Her name is Candace. She works at Colton with me. In the sales department." Candace. Now the woman had a name. Simone filed it away. "How long?" Brandon looked down. 8 months. 8 months. While Simone had been planning their anniversary. While they'd been discussing having a baby. While she'd been faithful and trusting. "I want a divorce." His head snapped up. "No. Please. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll do anything. You should have thought about that before you kissed her at Rosewoods. It was a mistake. A stupid, terrible mistake. I don't even love her." "Then why?" "I don't know. She paid attention to me. She made me feel important. You're always so busy with work and your projects. I felt ignored." Simone's jaw tightened. "So you're blaming me?" "No. That's not what I meant. I'm just trying to explain." "I don't want your explanations. I want a divorce." "Simone, please. 7 years. Doesn't that mean anything?" "It did. Until you threw it away." She stood up. "You'll be served with papers this week. Get a lawyer." "Wait. The house. Our accounts. We need to figure all that out. My lawyer will handle it. Don't contact me unless it's through her." She walked out of the coffee shop, leaving Brandon sitting there with his mouth open. Her hands shook as she got in her car, but she felt proud. She'd stood her ground. She hadn't caved. 3 days later, Patricia called with an update. "Papers have been served. Brandon received them at work yesterday. He immediately called my office, but I told him I wouldn't speak with him without his own attorney present." "Good. I also have news from the bank. I reviewed all your joint accounts going back 2 years. The suspicious charges total almost $11,000. Hotels, restaurants, gifts. All when he was supposedly at work events or with friends. $11,000. Simone felt sick. "Can we get that back?" "Possibly. In the asset division. We'll argue he used marital funds for an extramarital affair. Most judges don't look kindly on that." "What about the house?" "You have 2 options. You can sell it and split the proceeds. Or one of you can buy the other out. Which do you want?" Simone thought about the house. The 3-bedroom colonial they'd bought 5 years ago. She'd loved it once. But now it just felt like a box full of lies. "I want to sell it. I don't want anything that reminds me of him." "Understood. We'll push for that in negotiations." That weekend, Thomas called with his first report. "I've been following Brandon for a week. He's definitely still seeing Candace. They meet after work 3 times this week. Twice at her apartment, once at a bar. I have photos. And I found something else." "What?" "Candace is married too." Simone sat down. "What?" "Married for 5 years. Husband's name is Derek Paulson. Works as an accountant downtown. No kids. I did some digging. Seems Derek has no idea about the affair." "Does Brandon know she's married?" "Based on what I've observed, yes. I saw them arguing yesterday. She kept gesturing to her ring finger. He was trying to calm her down." "Send me everything you have. I'll email the photos and a written report this afternoon. Do you want me to keep following him?" "Yes. I want to know every time he sees her. Every lie he tells. Everything." "You got it." When the email arrived, Simone sat at Rochelle's dining table and opened it. There were dozens of photos. Brandon and Candace getting into her car. Brandon and Candace at a bar sitting close. Brandon leaving her apartment building. Each photo felt like a small knife to the chest. But Simone didn't look away. She studied every image, every angle, every detail. The written report was thorough. Times, dates, locations. Thomas had even recorded some of their conversations from a distance. Nothing usable in court, but enough for Simone to know this wasn't just physical. They talked. They laughed. They held hands. This wasn't just a mistake or a moment of weakness. This was a full relationship. A betrayal on every level. Simone forwarded everything to Patricia. Then she leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes. "You okay?" Rochelle came out of her bedroom looking concerned. "I'm angry. I'm so angry I could scream." "So scream. No one's stopping you." Simone opened her eyes. "I want him to hurt the way I'm hurting. I want him to lose everything." "He will. Patricia's good. She'll make sure of it. It's not enough. I want more than money. I want consequences. Rochelle sat down across from her. What are you thinking? I don't know yet. But I'll figure it out. Over the next few days an idea began to form. Brandon worked at Colton Industries. Candace worked there too. Most companies had policies about workplace relationships, especially affairs. Simone did some research. Colton Industries was a mid-sized marketing firm, about 200 employees. They had a strict code of conduct. She found it on their website. Section 4.2, romantic relationships between employees must be disclosed to HR. Section 4.3, employees engaged in relationships that create conflicts of interest or hostile work environments may face disciplinary action. Neither Brandon nor Candace had disclosed their relationship. Simone knew that for certain. And an affair between two married employees definitely created a hostile work environment. She smiled. This could work. But first she needed more information. She needed to know who Derek Paulson was. The other betrayed spouse. Maybe they could help each other. She called Thomas. I need you to find out more about Derek Paulson. Work address. Daily routine. Everything. You thinking about contacting him? Maybe. Would that be a bad idea? Not necessarily. Might work in your favor. Two betrayed spouses with documentation can be powerful. But be careful. You don't know how he'll react. I'll think about it. That night, Simone lay on Rochelle's couch staring at the ceiling. She thought about Derek Paulson. Another person whose life had been destroyed by lies. Did he deserve to know? Would he want to know? She thought about Brandon. About 7 years of marriage. About the future they'd planned. All of it gone. She thought about Candace. A woman who'd known Brandon was married and pursued him anyway. Or maybe he pursued her. Did it matter? They were both guilty. They both deserved consequences. And Simone was going to make sure they got them. She picked up her phone and texted Patricia. I want to file a complaint with Brandon's employer. Can we do that? Patricia responded within minutes. Absolutely. But let's build the case first. Make sure we have everything we need. Timing matters. Simone, understood. I'll wait for your signal. She set the phone down and smiled in the darkness. This was just the beginning. Brandon had broken their vows. He'd lied. He'd stolen. He'd betrayed her in every way possible. Now she was going to break him. Not with violence. Not with anger. But with strategy. With evidence. With the truth he'd tried so hard to hide. And she was going to enjoy every minute of it. Simone sat across from her brother Jerome at a downtown diner. He'd been calling her every day since she told him about Brandon, checking in, making sure she was okay. Today he'd insisted they meet for breakfast. Jerome was 2 years younger than Simone, a high school history teacher with a protective streak a mile wide. He'd never particularly liked Brandon, though he'd kept his opinions mostly to himself. You look tired, he said, studying her face. I'm fine. You're not sleeping. I'm sleeping enough. She picked at her eggs. I've been busy. Gathering evidence. Planning. Jerome leaned back. Planning what exactly? Simone pulled out her phone and showed him the photos Thomas had taken. Brandon and Candace together. The timestamps. The locations. He's still seeing her. Even after I caught him. Even after the divorce papers. That fool. Jerome shook his head. You deserve so much better. I know. And I'm going to make sure everyone else knows it too. What do you mean? Simone laid out her plan. The workplace complaint. The evidence of financial misconduct. The exposure of the affair to both companies, both families, both social circles. Jerome whistled low. You're going nuclear. He deserves it. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just making sure you've thought this through. Once you do this, there's no going back. I don't want to go back. I want to move forward. And I want him to face real consequences, not just lose half the savings. Okay then. What do you need from me? Support. Maybe some help moving my stuff out of the house. And maybe some information. What kind of information? You know people. You network. You're friends with half the city through your teacher connections. Do you know anyone who works at Colton Industries? Jerome thought for a moment. Actually, yes. Remember my college roommate Malcolm? He works in their IT department. Can you reach out to him? Casually? See if you can find out anything about the company culture? How they handle policy violations. You want inside information. I want to know what I'm dealing with before I file the complaint. Jerome nodded slowly. I can do that. But Simone, you have to promise me something. What? Promise me you're doing this for the right reasons. Not just revenge. But because you genuinely want justice. It's both. Can't it be both? Yeah. He reached across the table and squeezed her hand. Yeah, it can be both. And for the record, I'm proud of you. You're handling this better than most people would. I don't feel like I'm handling it well. I feel like I'm barely holding it together. That's normal. But you're still showing up. Still working. Still making plans. That's strength. After breakfast, Simone drove to her house for the first time since catching Brandon. She called ahead to make sure he was at work. She didn't want to see him. Didn't want to talk. She just needed to get her things. The house looked the same from the outside. Same blue shutters. Same flower beds she planted last spring. But it felt different. Like a place she'd visited once but never really lived. She let herself in. The living room was a mess. Pizza boxes on the coffee table. Dishes in the sink. Brandon had never been good at cleaning when she wasn't around. Simone walked upstairs to their bedroom. The bed was unmade. His clothes were scattered across the floor. She opened the closet and started pulling out her things. Dresses. Pants. She had 3 suitcases in the garage. She'd need all of them. As she packed, her phone rang. Patricia. I have news. Brandon's attorney finally contacted me. His name is Richard Moss. He's asking for mediation. Mediation. It's where both parties meet with a neutral third party to negotiate the divorce terms. It can be faster and cheaper than going to court. I don't want to negotiate with him. I understand. But hear me out. Mediation gives us an opportunity to present our evidence in a controlled setting. We show the photos. We show the bank records. We demonstrate his misconduct. Then we demand what you deserve. If he refuses, we go to court with an even stronger case. Simone thought about it. When? Next week. Tuesday at 2. Can you make it? I'll be there. After hanging up, Simone continued packing. She took all her clothes, her jewelry, her personal items. She left Brandon's things untouched. Let him drown in his own mess. She found her grandmother's photo album in the guest room closet. Flipped through pictures of her parents' wedding. Her own childhood. College graduation. Her wedding to Brandon. She stared at that last photo. She'd been so happy that day. So certain. They'd stood under an arch of white roses, holding hands, promising forever. Forever had lasted 7 years. Simone ripped the photo out of the album. Then she walked downstairs and put it through the paper shredder in the home office. The mechanical whir felt satisfying. She loaded her suitcases into her car. Made 3 trips. By the time she finished, it was late afternoon. She took one last walk through the house. This place that had been her home. Where she'd cooked dinners and watched movies and made love to a man who'd betrayed her. She felt nothing. No nostalgia. No sadness. Just emptiness. Simone locked the door behind her and drove back to Rochelle's apartment. That evening, Jerome called. I talked to Malcolm. He says Colton takes policy violations seriously. They fired someone last year for sexual harassment. They have a zero-tolerance policy for anything that could create legal liability. Good. What else? He says HR is headed by a woman named Gloria Hendricks. She's tough. By the book. If you file a complaint, she'll investigate thoroughly. Can you get me her direct email? I can try. But Simone, are you sure about this? I'm sure. Okay. I'll get you the information. But please talk to Patricia before you do anything. Make sure you're protected legally. I will. The next morning, Simone called a meeting with Patricia. They met at Patricia's office and Simone laid out everything. The workplace affair. The company policies. Her plan to file a formal complaint. Patricia listened carefully, taking notes. When Simone finished, Patricia set down her pen. This could work, but we need to time it right. If you file before the mediation, Brandon might get defensive and refuse to negotiate. If you file after, we can use it as leverage. How? We tell him at mediation that unless he agrees to your terms, you'll file the complaint. Give him a choice. Cooperate or face professional consequences. Simone smiled. I like that. There's one complication though. Candace's husband, Derek. Have you thought about contacting him? I've been thinking about it. I'm just not sure how to approach it. Want my advice? Contact him before mediation. If he's willing to corroborate the affair, it strengthens your position. And if he wants to file his own complaint against his wife's employer, that creates even more pressure. But what if he doesn't believe me? What if he defends her? Then you're no worse off than you are now. But from my experience, most betrayed spouses want the truth. They just need someone to give it to them. Simone sat with that. Could she really reach out to a stranger and tell him his wife was cheating? Could she be the one to destroy his life the way hers had been destroyed? But he deserved to know. Just like she deserved to know. Okay, I'll do it. How do I find him? Patricia smiled. Leave that to me. I have resources. 2 days later, Patricia called with Derek Paulson's contact information. Work phone. Personal email. Home address. How do you want to reach out? Patricia asked. Email. It's less confrontational. Gives him time to process. Smart. Do you want me to draft it? No. I need to do this myself. That night, Simone sat at Rochelle's dining table with her laptop open. She stared at the blank email for a long time before she started typing. Subject: information about your wife. Dear Mr. Paulson. You don't know me, but my name is Simone Fletcher. I'm writing to you because I believe you deserve to know something about your wife, Candace. For the past 8 months, she has been having an affair with my husband, Brandon Fletcher. They worked together at Colton Industries. I discovered the affair 2 weeks ago when I saw them together at a restaurant. Since then, I've hired a private investigator who has documented their continued relationship. I have photos, timestamps, and location records. I'm attaching some of this evidence to this email. I'm not writing to hurt you. I'm writing because I believe you have the right to know the truth. I was blindsided by my husband's betrayal, and I wish someone had told me sooner. If you want to talk, I'm available. If you want nothing to do with this, I understand. Either way, I'm sorry to be the bearer of this news. Sincerely, Simone Fletcher. She attached 3 photos. Not the most intimate ones, but clear enough to show Brandon and Candace together. Close. Affectionate. Undeniable. Her finger hovered over the send button. This was it. Once she sent this, Derek's life would change forever. Just like hers had changed. But he deserved to know. She pressed send. Then she closed her laptop and went to bed. Tomorrow was mediation. Tomorrow she'd face Brandon with all her evidence, all her demands, all her carefully constructed strategy. Tomorrow she'd start getting justice. But tonight she'd given another betrayed spouse the truth. And somehow that felt like the right thing to do. She fell asleep thinking about Derek reading that email. About his reaction. About whether he'd reach out or ignore her. 3 hours later, her phone buzzed with a new email. From Derek Paulson. Subject: information about your wife. Can we meet? Simone sat up in bed, heart pounding. She typed back quickly. To Derek Paulson. Subject: information about your wife. Yes. When and where? His response came immediately. Tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. Collins Coffee. I'll be wearing a green jacket. Simone, I'll be there. She lay back down, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow was going to be a very long day. Mediation at 2. But first, a meeting with Derek Paulson. 2 betrayed spouses joining forces. Brandon and Candace had no idea what was coming. And Simone couldn't wait to see their faces when it all came crashing down. Simone arrived at Collins Coffee at 7:50 a.m. She ordered a latte she wouldn't drink and sat at a table near the window. At exactly 8 a.m., a man in a green jacket walked in. He was tall, thin, with dark hair and tired eyes. He looked around, spotted her, and walked over. Simone Fletcher? Derek Paulson? He nodded and sat down across from her. For a moment, neither spoke. 2 strangers brought together by betrayal. Finally, Derek said, I didn't sleep last night. I'm sorry. Don't be. I needed to know. He pulled out his phone and showed her the photos she'd sent. I've suspected for a while. Little things. Late nights at work. New clothes. She'd smile at her phone and then hide the screen when I walked by. But I told myself I was being paranoid. I did the same thing. Ignored the signs. How did you find out? For certain? Simone told him about the restaurant. The text. The photo. Derek listened without interrupting, his jaw tight. 8 months, he said when she finished. 8 months she's been lying to my face. I hired a private investigator. I have extensive documentation. Photos, timestamps, locations. If you want copies, I can share them. Yes. I want everything. Simone pulled a folder from her bag. She'd printed everything that morning. Bank records showing Brandon's spending. Photos from Thomas. The timeline of the affair. She slid it across the table. Derek flipped through it slowly. His hands shook slightly. When he got to the photos of Brandon and Candace kissing outside her apartment, he closed the folder. I loved her, he said quietly. I still love her. How stupid is that? It's not stupid. Love doesn't just turn off. Does it get easier? The hurt. I don't know yet. It's only been 2 weeks for me. Derek looked at her directly. What are you going to do? About your husband? Divorce him. Take him for everything I can. And I'm planning to file a complaint with their employer. They violated company policy by not disclosing their relationship. Can I help with that? The complaint? Actually, yes. If we both file, it carries more weight. 2 employees having an affair, both married to other people, neither disclosed it. That's a major policy violation. Derek nodded slowly. When? After my mediation today. My attorney thinks it'll be more effective if we use it as leverage first. But after that we file. I'll do it. Whatever you need. Thank you. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Derek said, Have you confronted her? Candace. No. I've only seen her that once at the restaurant. I haven't confronted her either. I got your email and I just left. Went to my brother's house. I've been there since midnight. I can't face her yet. You don't have to. Not until you're ready. I want her to hurt the way I'm hurting. Is that terrible? No. It's human. Derek stood up. Thank you for telling me. I know that couldn't have been easy. You deserve to know. If you need anything, testimony or documentation or just someone who understands, call me. He handed her a business card. I mean it. I will. After he left, Simone sat alone in the coffee shop. She felt strange. Lighter somehow. Like she'd shared the burden and it had become more manageable. She drove to her office and tried to work, but her mind was on the upcoming mediation. At 1:30 she left and drove to Patricia's office. They met in the conference room to review strategy. Remember, stay calm, Patricia said. Don't let him see you angry. We present the facts. We state our terms. We give him one chance to cooperate. And if he doesn't? Then we go to court and we file the workplace complaint. Either way you win. At 2 o'clock they walked into the mediator's office. It was a neutral space, a conference room with a long table and uncomfortable chairs. The mediator was a woman named Susan Kim, middle-aged with kind eyes. Brandon was already there with his attorney, Richard Moss. Brandon looked worse than he had at the coffee shop. He'd lost weight. His suit hung loose. When Simone walked in, he half stood like he wanted to hug her, but she gave him a cold look and he sat back down. Let's begin, Susan said. This is mediation for the divorce of Simone and Brandon Fletcher. I'm here to facilitate a conversation and help you reach an agreement. Let's start with Mrs. Fletcher's terms. Patricia opened a folder. My client is seeking full dissolution of the marriage due to adultery. She wants an equal division of all assets with the exception of funds her husband spent on his extramarital affair, which she wants returned in full. How much? Richard asked. $11,463. Brandon's eyes widened. That's not accurate. Patricia slid a paper across the table. Bank records. Every charge. Every hotel. Every dinner. Every gift. It's all documented. And we have photographic evidence of the ongoing affair. She laid out photos. Brandon and Candace at restaurants. At her apartment. At bars. The timestamps showed they were recent, taken in the past 2 weeks. You've been having me followed? Brandon's voice rose. You've been lying, Simone said calmly. I simply wanted the truth. Richard whispered something to Brandon, who slumped in his chair. Susan cleared her throat. Let's discuss the house. My client wants to sell the house and split the proceeds, Patricia said. She also wants the full amount of the down payment returned to her, as she paid for it from her personal savings before the marriage. The down payment was $20,000, Richard said. That would leave my client with very little equity. Your client violated his marriage vows and spent marital funds on another woman. I think Mrs. Fletcher is being generous by not asking for more. The mediation continued for 2 hours. They argued over retirement accounts, furniture, the cars. Every small detail became a negotiation. Simone sat quietly, letting Patricia handle the talking. She watched Brandon squirm. Watched him realize how much evidence she had. How prepared she was. Finally, Susan called for a break. Patricia pulled Simone into the hallway. He's going to cave. I can see it. Richard knows they have no leverage. Good. When they returned, Richard had a proposal. My client agrees to the following: equal division of all assets except the disputed $11,000, which he'll pay back over 2 years. He gets the house appraised and buys Mrs. Fletcher out at fair market value for her half, minus the down payment. They each keep their own retirement accounts. He pays all legal fees for the divorce. Patricia looked at Simone, who nodded. We accept with one addition, Patricia said. Mrs. Fletcher keeps all contents of the house she wants. Furniture, artwork, appliances. Mr. Fletcher can buy replacements. Richard whispered to Brandon again. Brandon looked miserable but nodded. Agreed. Susan smiled. Excellent. I'll draft the agreement. You'll both need to review and sign. The divorce should be final in about 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Simone would be officially free in 6 weeks. As they stood to leave, Brandon approached her. Simone, can we talk? Just for a minute? She looked at Patricia, who nodded. 1 minute. Patricia and Richard stepped out. Susan busied herself with paperwork. Brandon stood close, his voice low. I know you hate me. I know I destroyed everything. But I need you to know I'm sorry. I really am. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Brandon? That I forgive you? I don't. That I understand? I don't. You made choices. Now you're facing consequences. I still love you. No, you don't. You love the idea of me. The convenience of me. But you don't love me. If you did, you wouldn't have cheated. Can't we try? Go to counseling? Work on things. Simone stepped back. We're done. The mediation is over. The marriage is over. In 6 weeks, it'll be legally over. Move on, Brandon. I already have. She walked out without looking back. Patricia was waiting in the hallway with a satisfied smile. How do you feel? Good. Really good. Ready for phase 2? Absolutely. That night, Simone called Derek. The mediation went well. He agreed to my terms. I'm ready to file the workplace complaint. Me too. When? Tomorrow morning. I'll email Gloria Hendricks at Colton Industries. You should email her too. Separate complaints, same evidence. What do I say? Be factual. Unemotional. State that your wife and my husband have been having an undisclosed affair for 8 months, violating company policy. Attach the evidence. Request a formal investigation. Got it? Derek? Thank you for helping with this. Thank you for telling me the truth. After they hung up, Simone drafted her email to Gloria Hendricks. She kept it brief and professional. Subject: formal complaint regarding policy violation. Dear Ms. Hendricks, I am writing to file a formal complaint regarding employees Brandon Fletcher and Candace Paulson. Both are engaged in an undisclosed romantic relationship that has been ongoing for approximately 8 months. Both are married to other people. According to your company policy section 4.2, employees engaged in romantic relationships must disclose them to HR. Neither Mr. Fletcher nor Mrs. Paulson have done so. I have attached photographic evidence, witness statements, and a timeline documenting the relationship. I am requesting a formal investigation into this matter. I am also aware that Mr. Fletcher has submitted false expense reports, claiming personal expenses related to this affair as business expenses. I have attached relevant bank records showing charges to company accounts that correspond with dates and locations where he was meeting Mrs. Paulson. Please contact me if you need additional information. Sincerely, Simone Fletcher. She attached everything. Photos, bank records, Thomas's report, the timeline, everything. Then she saved it as a draft. Tomorrow morning she'd send it. Derek would send his. And then they'd wait for the consequences to rain down. Simone smiled. Brandon thought the mediation was the end. He thought he'd gotten off easy. Pay back some money, lose the house, move on with his life. He had no idea what was coming. And honestly, Simone couldn't wait to watch. The next morning, Simone woke at dawn. She made coffee, opened her laptop, and reread the email to Gloria Hendricks one more time. Then she pressed send. 30 seconds later, her phone buzzed. Derek, sent mine too. No going back now. Simone, no going back. She got ready for work, putting on a maroon blouse and gray slacks. Professional. Put together. No one at her office knew about the divorce yet. She planned to keep it that way until everything was finalized. At Morrison Architecture, she dove into her current project, a new community center design. But her mind kept wandering to the email, to Gloria Hendricks opening it, to the investigation that would follow. At 10:47 a.m., her phone rang. Unknown number. This is Simone Fletcher. Mrs. Fletcher, this is Gloria Hendricks from Colton Industries. I received your email this morning. Simone's heart sped up. Yes. I need to verify some information. Can you confirm that the person in these photographs is Brandon Fletcher, employed in our marketing department? Yes, that's him. And the woman is Candace Paulson from our sales department? Yes. I also received a similar complaint from Mr. Derek Paulson this morning. Are you two working together on this? We're both victims of the same affair. We decided to file simultaneously. Gloria was silent for a moment. I see. Well, I want you to know we take these matters very seriously. I'm opening a formal investigation as of today. Both employees will be interviewed. We'll review all evidence. And we'll take appropriate action. What kind of action? I can't discuss that at this stage. But policy violations of this nature typically result in disciplinary measures up to and including termination. Thank you. Mrs. Fletcher, I'm sorry you're going through this. No one deserves to be treated the way you've been treated. I appreciate that. After hanging up, Simone texted Derek. HR called. Investigation is officially open. Derek, good. Let them burn. Simone felt a grim satisfaction. This was really happening. Brandon and Candace would face professional consequences. Their affair wouldn't just cost their marriages. It would cost their careers. That afternoon, Thomas called with an update. Brandon got called into HR today. I was surveilling him at work. He went into the main office at 2 p.m. and didn't come out for over an hour. Looked pretty shaken when he left. What about Candace? She got called in right after. Haven't seen her leave yet. Keep watching. I want to know everything. Will do. Simone spent the evening at Rochelle's apartment, feeling restless. She wanted to know what was being said in those HR meetings, what Brandon was claiming, whether he'd try to lie his way out. At 8 p.m. her phone rang. Brandon. She almost didn't answer, but curiosity won out. What? You filed a complaint at my job? Are you serious? You violated company policy. I simply made them aware. You're trying to get me fired. I'm trying to make sure there are consequences for your actions. There's a difference. Simone, I could lose everything. My job, my career, my reputation. You should have thought about that before you started an affair. This is vindictive. This is cruel. No, Brandon. What's cruel is lying to your wife for 8 months, spending money on another woman, making me look like a fool. I said I was sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything. Sorry doesn't undo the damage. Sorry is just a word. What do you want from me? Blood. I want justice. And I'm getting it. She hung up, blocked his number. She was done listening to his excuses. 10 minutes later, Patricia called. I just got a very angry message from Richard Moss. Apparently Brandon is quite upset about the HR complaint. Good. He's threatening to contest the mediation agreement. Can he do that? He can try. But we have a signed agreement. He'd have to prove duress or coercion, which he can't. He's just posturing because he's scared. Let him be scared. Simone, I have to ask, are you sure you want to pursue this? Once someone loses their job, it becomes harder to get financial settlements. I don't care about the money anymore. I have my own career, my own income. I want him to understand that actions have consequences. Patricia was quiet for a moment. Okay, then we stay the course. But be prepared. Things might get ugly. They already are ugly. That weekend, Simone finally told her colleagues at work about the divorce. She kept it quiet for 3 weeks, but word was starting to spread. Better to control the narrative. Dennis came by her desk on Monday morning. Hey, I heard about you and Brandon. I'm really sorry. Thank you. If you need anything, time off or just someone to talk to, let me know. I appreciate that. Her boss, Mr. Morrison, called her into his office later that day. He was in his 60s, gruff but fair. Simone, I heard about your personal situation. I want you to know your job is secure. Take whatever time you need. Thank you, but I'd rather stay busy. Work helps. I understand. But if that changes, my door is open. He paused. I also want to mention something. We received a proposal last month from a firm in Portland. They're looking for a senior architect to lead a major downtown development. I immediately thought of you. Portland? It's a significant opportunity. Bigger budget, more creative freedom than you have here. The salary is substantial. I'd hate to lose you, but I think you should consider it. Simone leaned forward. Tell me more. He slid a folder across the desk. This is their project scope. A mixed-use development, residential and commercial. They want someone with your vision. Someone who understands urban design and community integration. Simone flipped through the folder. The project was ambitious, creative. Exactly the kind of challenge she'd been craving. What would the timeline be? They'd want someone to start in 3 months. You'd need to relocate. 3 months. Right when her divorce would be final. A fresh start in a new city. Away from Brandon, away from the memories, away from everything. Can I think about it? Of course. But don't wait too long. They're interviewing candidates next month. Simone took the folder back to her desk and read through it carefully. Portland. She'd visited once years ago. Liked the city. Liked the vibe. And this project would be a major career advancement. She called Rochelle at lunch. Would you think I'm crazy if I moved to Portland? What? Why Portland? Simone explained the job offer. The project. The opportunity. That sounds incredible, Rochelle said. But it's across the country. You'd be leaving everything. Maybe that's what I need. A complete fresh start. What about us? Your brother? Your life here. You can visit. I can visit. And honestly, what life do I have here? The house I'm selling? The marriage that's over? My career is the only thing that's stable. Rochelle sighed. If this is what you want, I support you. But don't run away from your problems. Make sure you're running towards something better. I think I am. That evening, Simone researched Portland. Neighborhoods. Cost of living. Architecture firms. The more she learned, the more excited she became. This could work. This could be exactly what she needed. She emailed Mr. Morrison. I'd like to interview for the Portland position. His response came within minutes. I'll set it up. You're going to crush this. The next week was a whirlwind. HR at Colton Industries continued their investigation. Thomas reported that Brandon and Candace were no longer speaking at work. They'd been placed on different floors, separated to prevent conflicts. Derek called with updates. Candace moved out. She's staying with her sister. I filed for divorce yesterday. How are you holding up? Some days better than others. How about you? Same. But I have some good news. I might be moving to Portland. New job opportunity. That's amazing. Good for you. Thanks. Are you going to be okay? Eventually. Right now I'm just focused on getting through each day. That's all any of us can do. They talked for a while longer, two people bonded by shared pain. When they hung up, Simone felt grateful. She'd reached out to Derek on a whim and he'd become an unexpected ally. Someone who truly understood what she was going through. On Thursday, Gloria Hendricks called again. Mrs. Fletcher, I wanted to update you on the investigation. We've completed our interviews and reviewed all evidence. Both employees have been terminated for policy violations and fraudulent expense reporting. Simone sat down. Terminated? Yes. Effective immediately. They've been asked to clear their desks and surrender company property. Their benefits will continue through the end of the month, but their employment has ended. What about references? Company policy is to confirm dates of employment only. We don't provide detailed references for terminated employees. Thank you for letting me know. Again, I'm sorry you were put in this position. But I want you to know your complaint was taken seriously and handled appropriately. After the call, Simone sat in stunned silence. Brandon had lost his job. Candace had lost hers. Both their careers damaged, possibly permanently. She'd wanted consequences. She'd gotten them. But she didn't feel triumphant. She felt empty. Like she'd won a battle but lost something in the process. Her phone buzzed. Jerome. Jerome, heard about Brandon. He's been calling me. Says you ruined his life. Simone, he ruined his own life. Jerome, I know. Just wanted to make sure you're okay. Simone, I'm fine. Better than fine. I got a job offer in Portland. Jerome, what? She called him and explained everything. The project. The opportunity. The fresh start. I can't believe you're leaving, Jerome said. I need to. There's nothing left for me here. There's me. There's Rochelle. There's your career at Morrison. And I'll miss you. But this is bigger than all that. This is about me rebuilding my life on my own terms. Not in the shadow of my failed marriage. Jerome was quiet. Then, if this is what you need, I support you. But promise you'll visit. I promise. And Simone? I'm proud of you. What you did took courage. Most people would have just let it go. I couldn't. I needed him to understand that actions have consequences. Well, he understands now. That night, Simone lay in bed thinking about Brandon. About their 7 years together. About the man she'd thought she'd married versus the man he'd turned out to be. She thought about Candace, also jobless, also facing the consequences of her choices. She thought about Derek, starting over just like she was. And she thought about Portland. About a new city, a new project, a new life. The divorce would be final in 4 weeks. The job would start in 12. Everything was falling into place. Simone closed her eyes and for the first time in weeks, she slept through the night without waking. Brandon showed up at Morrison Architecture 2 days after he lost his job. Simone was in a meeting when Dennis knocked on the conference room door. "Sorry to interrupt, but there's someone here to see you. He says it's urgent." Simone excused herself and walked to the lobby. Brandon stood there in jeans and a wrinkled blue shirt, looking haggard. His eyes lit up when he saw her. "We need to talk." "No, we don't. Leave." "Simone, please. 5 minutes." "You have 2. They stepped outside. The parking lot was mostly empty, lunch hour on a Tuesday. "You got me fired," Brandon said. "You got yourself fired. I just reported what you did. I can't find another job. Everyone asks why I left Colton. I can't tell them the truth. That's your problem, not mine. I can't pay you back the $11,000 now. I don't have income." Simone crossed her arms. "Then you'll have to figure something out. Sell your stuff. Get a loan. I don't care. But you agreed to pay it back and you will." "How? I'm broke. I've been staying with my brother. I can't even afford the mortgage on the house anymore." "Again, not my problem. You made choices. These are the consequences." Brandon's expression hardened. "You're really enjoying this, aren't you? Watching me suffer." "I'm not enjoying anything. I'm just done being the person you lean on. You want sympathy? Try the woman you cheated with. She won't talk to me. She blames me for her losing her job. Funny how everyone wants to blame someone else instead of taking responsibility. What do you want from me? You've taken everything already. I want nothing from you. I want you out of my life. The divorce is final in 3 weeks. After that, I never have to see you again." "What about the house?" "It goes on the market next week. Patricia's handling it. You'll get your half after my down payment is returned and the realtor fees are paid. Whatever's left, you can have. That's going to be almost nothing." "Then I guess you should have thought about that before you spent our savings on another woman." Brandon stepped closer. "You know what? I should have left you years ago. You're cold. You're calculating. No wonder I looked elsewhere for affection." Simone didn't flinch. "If that's what you need to tell yourself, go ahead. But deep down you know the truth. You're weak. You're selfish. And you destroyed something good because you couldn't keep it in your pants." She turned and walked back inside. Her hands shook but she kept her head high. She heard him yell something behind her but she didn't turn around. Back in her office, she closed the door and sat at her desk. Took 3 deep breaths. She wouldn't let him see her rattled. She wouldn't give him that satisfaction. Her phone buzzed. "Patricia. Patricia, Brandon's attorney just called. He wants to renegotiate the payment terms. Claims financial hardship." "Simone, no. The agreement stands." "Patricia, that's what I told him. Just wanted you to know." That afternoon, Simone had a video interview with the Portland firm. 3 partners joined the call, all impressed with her portfolio. They asked about her vision for urban development, her approach to sustainable design, her experience managing large projects. She answered confidently, showing them renderings of her recent work. By the end of the hour, they were discussing start dates and relocation packages. "We'll make a decision by next week," the senior partner said. "But between you and me, you're our top choice. We were very impressed." "Thank you. I look forward to hearing from you." After the call, Simone allowed herself a small smile. Things were coming together. Brandon might be falling apart, but she was rising. That weekend, Rochelle threw her a small going-away party. Just close friends, pizza, wine. They sat in Rochelle's living room reminiscing about college, about better times. "I still can't believe you're leaving," Rochelle said. "It won't be the same without you. You can visit anytime. Portland's not that far. There are flights every day. It's not the same as having you here." "I know. But this is what I need. A clean break. A fresh start." Jerome raised his glass. "To Simone. The strongest person I know. May Portland be everything you hope for." Everyone clinked glasses. Simone looked around at these people who loved her, who'd supported her through the worst weeks of her life. She'd miss them. But she couldn't stay here. Not with all the memories. Not with Brandon's presence still lingering in every corner of the city. On Monday, she got the call from Portland. "We'd like to offer you the position. Senior architect, lead designer on the downtown development project. Starting salary $120,000, full benefits, relocation package up to $10,000. Simone closed her eyes. "I accept." "Excellent. We'll send over the paperwork today. When can you start?" 3 months. I have some personal matters to finalize here first." "That works perfectly. Welcome to the team, Simone." She hung up and immediately called Jerome. Then Rochelle. Then Patricia. "Congratulations," Patricia said. "You deserve this." After everything you've been through, you deserve something good. Thank you for everything you've done. It's been my pleasure. The divorce will be final in 2 weeks. I'll send you the papers to sign. After that, you're officially free. 2 weeks. 14 days until she was legally no longer Brandon's wife. Until she could close that chapter completely. The next day, Gloria Hendricks called again. Mrs. Fletcher, I wanted to inform you of a development. Brandon Fletcher has filed a complaint against Colton Industries, claiming wrongful termination. Simone's stomach dropped. Can he do that? He can file anything he wants. But his claim has no merit. We have documented evidence of policy violations and fraudulent expense reports. Our legal team is confident we'll prevail if this goes to court. Will I need to testify? Possibly. Would you be willing to? Yes. Absolutely. Good. I'll keep you updated. And Mrs. Fletcher? Don't worry. This is just a desperate attempt by someone who knows he's in the wrong. After hanging up, Simone texted Derek. Brandon is suing Colton. Derek, Candace too. Just got the same call. What an idiot. Simone, they're going to lose. Derek, obviously. But it's annoying that they're dragging this out. That evening, Thomas called with interesting news. Brandon and Candace met today. First time since they were fired. They met at a coffee shop downtown. Seemed like they were arguing. Lasted about an hour. Were you able to hear anything? Bits and pieces. She kept saying this was all his fault. He kept saying they needed to stick together. She left looking pretty upset. Keep watching. I have a feeling they're going to turn on each other. That's my guess too. People who blame everyone else usually end up blaming each other. The house sold quickly. A young couple with a baby, thrilled to get a good deal in a nice neighborhood. The closing was scheduled for the week after Simone's divorce finalized. Everything was aligning. The divorce, the house sale, the new job. It felt surreal, like watching someone else's life unfold. 2 days before the divorce was final, Simone drove to the house one last time. The new owners wouldn't take possession for another week, but she wanted to say goodbye properly. She walked through the empty rooms. Most of the furniture was gone, sold or given away. Brandon had taken his things. She'd taken hers. What remained was just space. Neutral. Impersonal. She stood in the bedroom they'd shared for 5 years. Remembered lazy Sunday mornings. Remembered laughter. Remembered feeling safe. All of it felt like it had happened to someone else. She walked downstairs to the kitchen. Remembered cooking dinners together. Brandon would chop vegetables while she managed the stove. They'd drink wine and talk about their days. When had it stopped? When had he checked out of the marriage? Had there been a moment, or had it been gradual? She'd never know. And maybe that was okay. Maybe some questions didn't need answers. Simone locked the door and dropped the key in the realtor's mailbox. She drove away without looking back. The divorce was finalized on a Thursday. Simone went to the courthouse with Patricia, signed the papers, and walked out 20 minutes later legally single. How do you feel? Patricia asked. Free. What's next for you? Packing. Moving. Starting over. I'm glad I could help you through this. You're one of the strongest clients I've ever had. I didn't feel strong. That's what made you strong. You felt weak and scared and hurt, but you did what needed to be done anyway. That's true strength. They hugged goodbye. Simone drove to Rochelle's apartment and found her friend waiting with champagne. To your freedom, Rochelle toasted. To new beginnings, Simone replied. They drank and talked late into the night. About Portland. About the future. About everything Simone had learned from this experience. I used to think marriage meant forever, Simone said. That if you loved someone enough, it would work. But now I know that's not true. You can love someone with everything you have and they can still betray you. So what do you believe now? That the only person you can truly rely on is yourself. That trust has to be earned every single day. And that sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away. That's pretty wise. I paid for it. Might as well use it. The next week, Brandon's lawsuit against Colton Industries was dismissed. The judge reviewed the evidence and ruled in the company's favor. Brandon was ordered to pay their legal fees. Derek texted, Candace's case got thrown out too. They both lost. Simone, good. Maybe now they'll finally move on. Derek, I hope so. I'm tired of dealing with this. Simone, how are you doing otherwise? Derek, better. Started therapy. Filed my own divorce. Taking it day by day. Simone, that's all any of us can do. Derek, hey, if you're ever back in town, let's get coffee. Compare notes on life after betrayal. Simone, deal. She spent the final 2 weeks packing her life into boxes. Rochelle helped. Jerome helped. They packed dishes and books and clothes. They labeled everything carefully. They made lists. On her last night in town, Simone took everyone to dinner. A thank you for their support. For their love. For standing by her through the worst of it. I couldn't have done this without you, she said, raising her glass. You kept me sane. You kept me grounded. You reminded me who I am. You did the hard part yourself, Jerome said. We just cheered you on. Still, I love you all. Thank you. The next morning, Simone loaded her car with the essentials. The moving truck had left yesterday with the furniture. She'd fly to Portland, find an apartment, settle in before the job started. She hugged Rochelle goodbye. I'm going to miss you so much. I'm going to miss you too. But you're going to do amazing things in Portland. I know it. Promise you'll visit? Promise. Simone hugged Jerome next. Take care of yourself. And call me if you need anything. You too. And remember, you're not running away. You're running towards something better. I'll remember. She got in her car and drove away from Rochelle's apartment, away from the city where she'd spent the last decade, away from everything familiar. As she merged onto the highway heading west, Simone felt something shift inside her. The weight she'd been carrying started to lift. The anger started to fade. What remained was something lighter, something hopeful. She'd survived. She'd fought back. She'd demanded consequences and gotten them. She'd protected herself and come out stronger. Brandon had tried to break her. Instead, she'd broken free. And now she was going to build something new. Something that belonged only to her. Portland waited. A new city. A new job. A new life. Simone turned up the radio and smiled. She was ready. 3 weeks into her Portland life, Simone stood in her new apartment looking out at the city skyline. The space was smaller than her old house, but it was hers. Bright green walls in the living room. Modern furniture she'd picked out herself. No memories of Brandon anywhere. Her phone rang. Derek. Hey, how's Portland? Amazing. The project is incredible. The team is great. I'm really happy. That's good to hear. I called because I wanted to update you on something. Candace contacted me. Simone sat down on her blue couch. What did she want? To apologize. Said she was sorry for everything. That she made terrible choices. That she regrets hurting me. Do you believe her? I don't know. Part of me wants to. Part of me thinks she's just lonely now that Brandon won't talk to her and she lost her job. What did you say? I told her I appreciated the apology but that we were done. That too much had happened. That I couldn't trust her again. Good for you. It was hard though. 7 years of marriage doesn't just disappear because someone says sorry. I know. But you did the right thing. They talked for a while longer, catching up on their respective healing journeys. When they hung up, Simone felt grateful again for Derek's friendship. They'd been through something terrible together and came out the other side. The Portland project consumed her days. She designed public spaces and residential towers and commercial areas. Her vision was coming to life on paper, soon to become reality in steel and glass and concrete. Her colleagues respected her. They listened when she spoke. They valued her input. It was so different from Morrison, where she'd always felt like she had to prove herself. One Friday evening, a colleague named Malcolm invited her to happy hour with the team. Malcolm was older, maybe 50, with gray hair and kind eyes. He was the project manager and they'd worked closely together. Come on, you've been here a month and you haven't come out with us once, he said. I don't know. I'm pretty tired. One drink. Then you can leave. We just want to get to know you better. Simone considered. She'd been keeping to herself, focused on work. But maybe it was time to make friends. To build a life here beyond just her job. Okay. One drink. They went to a bar near the office. The team was friendly, asking about her background, her previous work, her impressions of Portland. She kept the conversation light, avoiding any mention of the divorce. Malcolm sat next to her at the bar. You're good at what you do. The team has been impressed. Thank you. Can I ask you something personal? And you can tell me to mind my own business if you want. Okay. You seem like you're running from something. Or maybe towards something. I just wanted to make sure you're all right. Simone looked at him. Really looked at him. He seemed genuinely concerned, not nosy. I went through a divorce recently. My husband cheated. I needed a fresh start. I'm sorry. That must have been difficult. It was. But I'm better now. Moving here was the right choice. Good. You deserve to be happy. We all do. The conversation moved on to other topics. Simone found herself relaxing, laughing at their jokes, sharing stories about her own work disasters. By the time she left, 2 hours had passed and she felt lighter. Maybe she could build a life here. Not just a career but a real life. Back in her old city, things were falling apart for Brandon. Simone heard about it through Jerome, who still lived there. He's working at a call center now, Jerome said during their weekly phone call. Some customer service job. Making maybe $30,000 a year. That's a big step down. He can't get hired anywhere in marketing. His reputation is destroyed. Everyone in the industry knows what happened. Did he do that to himself or did someone spread it? Honestly, I think it just got around. People talk. Especially about dramatic firings. Simone felt a twinge of something. Not quite guilt. Not quite satisfaction. Something in between. How's he handling it? Not well from what I hear. Living with his brother still. Depressed. Bitter. And Candace? Moved to another state. North Carolina, I think. Her sister lives there. What about Derek? Haven't seen him. But I heard he's doing okay. Dating someone new, actually. After they hung up, Simone sat with that information. Brandon's life had imploded while hers had flourished. Derek had moved on while Candace had fled. The scales felt balanced somehow. But she didn't feel triumphant. She just felt done. Like that chapter had fully closed and she could stop looking back. 2 months into Portland, Simone's project hit a major milestone. The designs were approved. Construction would begin in the spring. It was a huge win for the firm and for her personally. Malcolm took her to lunch to celebrate. They went to a nice restaurant downtown, nothing fancy but comfortable. You've really transformed this project, he said. The original designs were bland. You brought creativity and vision. I'm just doing my job. No, you're doing more than that. You're creating something meaningful. Something that'll impact this city for decades. That's the goal. They ate in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Malcolm said, "Can I ask you something else personal?" "Go ahead. Are you open to dating? Or are you still healing from the divorce?" Simone looked at him, surprised. "Are you asking if I'm available or asking for someone else?" "For me. If you're interested. If not, that's completely fine and we'll never speak of this again." She studied him. Malcolm was kind, stable, respectful. Nothing like Brandon. But did she want to date? Was she ready? "I don't know if I'm ready for anything serious. The divorce is still pretty fresh." "That's fair. What about just dinner? No pressure. Just two people getting to know each other." "Just dinner? Just dinner?" Simone thought about it. What was the harm? She'd been alone for months now, focused entirely on work and healing. Maybe it was time to dip her toe back in. "Okay, just dinner." Malcolm smiled. "Great. How about Saturday? There's a great Italian place in Pearl District." Saturday works. They finished lunch and went back to work. Simone felt nervous but also excited. It was just dinner. Nothing more. She could handle dinner. Saturday came and Simone spent an hour picking out what to wear. She settled on a red dress, simple but elegant. She did her makeup carefully, not too much but enough to feel put together. Malcolm picked her up at 7. He wore slacks and a green button-down, clean-shaven and smelling of cologne. "You look beautiful," he said. "Thank you. You clean up pretty well yourself." Dinner was easy. They talked about work, about Portland, about their families. Malcolm had been divorced for 5 years, had 2 teenage kids who lived with their mom. He seemed at peace with his past, not bitter like Brandon had become. "What made you want to ask me out?" Simone asked. "Honestly, I like being around you. You're smart and talented. You make me laugh. And you seem like someone who's been through something difficult and came out stronger." "That's very perceptive. I'm older. I've learned to read people. You carry pain but you don't let it define you. That's rare." They finished dinner and Malcolm walked her to her door. "Thank you for taking a chance on this. I know it's scary after what you've been through. Thank you for being patient. Can we do this again?" Simone considered. The evening had been nice. Malcolm was nice. But something held her back. Not fear exactly. Just caution. "Can I think about it?" "Of course. No pressure. I mean that." He didn't try to kiss her. Just smiled and walked back to his car. Simone went inside feeling conflicted. She liked Malcolm. But did she like him because he was right, or because he wasn't Brandon? She needed time to figure that out. The next week, Patricia called with news. Brandon filed for bankruptcy. His attorney sent the notice yesterday. "What does that mean for the money he owes me?" "Unfortunately, it means you probably won't get it. Bankruptcy discharges most debts." "I'm sorry." Simone sat with that. $11,000. Gone. But she'd known it was a possibility when he lost his job. It's okay. I don't need it. You're taking this remarkably well. The money was never really the point. The point was consequences. And he's facing those every day. True. He's living with family, working a minimum wage job, his career destroyed. He's paying for what he did. Yeah, he is. After hanging up, Simone thought about Brandon. About where he was now versus where she was. She felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. Just indifference. That's when she knew she was truly over it. When someone you once loved becomes someone you simply don't think about anymore. 3 months into Portland, Simone went on a second date with Malcolm. Then a third. They took things slow, both cautious after their respective divorces. But it was easy being with him. Comfortable. He didn't push for more than she was ready to give. When she said she wanted to take things slow, he respected that. When she said she wasn't ready to meet his kids yet, he understood. I'm not trying to replace anyone or fill a void, he said one evening over coffee. I just enjoy spending time with you. Whatever this becomes, I'm okay with it. That's really mature. I'm 52. I better be mature by now. Simone laughed. She liked him. Maybe not love, not yet. But genuine affection. And after everything with Brandon, that felt like enough. Back home, Derek sent her a photo. Him with a new woman, both smiling at a restaurant. Derek. Her name is Lisa. Met her at my gym. Thought you'd want to know I'm moving on. Simone, she looks lovely. I'm happy for you. Derek, how about you? Any romance in Portland? Simone, maybe. Nothing serious yet. Taking it slow. Derek, good. You deserve someone who treats you right. Simone, so do you? That night, Simone stood on her balcony looking out at Portland's lights. She thought about how far she'd come in 6 months. From catching Brandon at that restaurant to building a whole new life. She'd lost her marriage. But she'd gained her self-respect. She'd lost her house. But she'd gained her independence. She'd lost the future she'd planned. But she'd gained a future she'd created herself. And somehow that felt like winning. Her phone buzzed. Malcolm. Malcolm, thinking about you. Hope you're having a good night. Simone, I am. Talk tomorrow? Malcolm, absolutely. Sleep well. She smiled. Life wasn't perfect. She still had moments of sadness. Still wondered sometimes what had gone wrong with Brandon. Still felt the ghost of betrayal when she least expected it. But those moments were getting fewer. The pain was fading. And in its place, something new was growing. Not happiness exactly. Not yet. But possibility. Hope. The sense that her story wasn't over, it was just beginning a new chapter. And that chapter didn't include Brandon at all. Simone went back inside, closed the balcony door, and got ready for bed. Tomorrow she'd go back to work on her project. She'd meet Malcolm for lunch. She'd call Rochelle to catch up. Normal life. Good life. Her life. And that was all she'd ever wanted. 6 months after moving to Portland, Simone received a certified letter. She opened it at her kitchen table, coffee steaming beside her. It was from Brandon's bankruptcy attorney. Official notice that all his debts had been discharged, including what he owed her. She'd known it was coming, but seeing it in writing still stung. $11,000. Gone. She set the letter aside and finished her coffee. The money didn't matter anymore. She was making more in Portland than she'd ever made. She'd saved aggressively. She was financially secure. Brandon, on the other hand, would be starting over from nothing. His credit destroyed. His career gone. His reputation in shambles. That was consequence enough. Work on the Portland development project was progressing well. They'd broken ground 2 months ago. Simone visited the site regularly, watching her designs transform from paper to reality. Steel beams rose against the sky. The foundation was solid. By next year, the first buildings would be complete. It's incredible, Malcolm said, standing beside her at the construction site. They've been dating for 3 months now, still taking things slow but growing closer. You should be so proud. I am. This is the biggest thing I've ever done. Won't be the last either. I heard they're already talking about a second phase. Really? The partners are impressed. They want you to lead that too. Simone smiled. Her career was thriving. Her personal life was stable. She built something real here in Portland. That evening, Jerome called with news from home. Brandon's moving. Texas, I think. Got some job offer there. Nothing special, but it gets him out of our brother's house. Good for him, I guess. You don't sound very interested. I'm not. He's not my problem anymore. Fair enough. Oh, and I ran into Derek at the grocery store. He's engaged. To that woman he's been dating. That's fast. 6 months. But they seem really happy. He looks better than I've seen him in years. I'm glad. He deserves happiness. So do you? How are things with Malcolm? Good. Really good. We're not rushing anything, but it feels right. I'm happy for you. When am I going to meet this guy? Maybe Christmas? If you come visit? I'll be there. Rochelle's planning to come too. We're organizing a Portland invasion. I can't wait. After they hung up, Simone thought about Derek's engagement. 6 months seemed fast, but maybe when you know. She wasn't there with Malcolm yet. Maybe she never would be. But what they had was comfortable and kind, and that felt like enough after everything. The next week, Simone got an email from Gloria Hendricks at Colton Industries. Subject: follow up on previous complaint. Dear Mrs. Fletcher, I wanted to inform you that the matter involving Brandon Fletcher and Candace Paulson has been fully resolved. Both individuals have moved on to other employment and we consider the case closed. I also wanted to thank you for your courage in coming forward. Your complaint led us to discover several other policy violations within the company. We've since revised our procedures and implemented stronger oversight. You helped make our workplace better. I hope you're doing well in your own life. Best regards, Gloria Hendricks. Simone read it twice. Her complaint had led to broader changes. She'd helped other people she'd never met, by speaking up. That felt meaningful. She replied briefly, "Thank you for the update. I'm doing very well. I'm glad something positive came from a difficult situation." That Saturday, Malcolm invited Simone to meet his kids. They'd been dating for 4 months and she'd been avoiding it, nervous about adding that layer of complication. "They're good kids," Malcolm said. "No pressure. Just pizza and a movie. Totally casual. What if they don't like me? They will. But even if they don't, it doesn't change how I feel about you. How do you feel about me?" Malcolm took her hand. "I care about you. A lot. I'm not asking for forever. I'm just asking if you're willing to meet the other important people in my life." Simone took a deep breath. "Okay. Pizza and a movie. I can do that." His kids were teenagers. Emma, 17, and Jack, 15. They were polite but clearly sizing her up. Emma was particularly watchful, protecting her dad from potential hurt. Simone didn't try too hard. She was herself. She asked them about school, about their interests, about their lives. She didn't pretend to be their mother. She was just someone who cared about their father. By the end of the evening, they'd warmed up. Jack showed her his drawings. He wanted to be an architect like her. Emma talked about college plans. They all watched a movie together, casual and comfortable. When Malcolm drove Simone home, he was beaming. "That went really well. Your kids are great. They like you. Emma told me so. I like them too. Does this mean we're moving forward?" Whatever forward means. Simone considered. Was she ready for this? For a real relationship with someone who had kids and history and complications? Maybe. Maybe she was. "Yeah. We're moving forward." Malcolm kissed her. Not passionately but sweetly. A promise of more to come. 7 months into Portland, Simone's divorce felt like ancient history. She rarely thought about Brandon anymore. When she did, it was with detachment. He'd been part of her past. Now he was just a person who existed somewhere else, living his own life. She focused on her present. Her work. Her relationship with Malcolm. Her friendships with her co-workers. Her visits from Jerome and Rochelle, who'd both come for Thanksgiving. "Look at you," Rochelle said, sitting in Simone's apartment drinking wine. "You're glowing." "I'm happy. Actually happy. You deserve it. After everything you went through. Do you think I was too harsh? With Brandon and the workplace complaint?" "Absolutely not. He needed to face consequences. Otherwise he'd never learn." Jerome agreed. "You did the right thing. He broke his vows. He stole your money. He lied to your face. You held him accountable. That's not harsh. That's justice. Sometimes I wonder if I was vindictive." "There's a difference between vindictiveness and consequences," Jerome said. "Vindictive would have been spreading lies or trying to hurt him for no reason. You just told the truth. You reported actual policy violations. That's not vindictive. That's honest." Simone nodded. She needed to hear that. That Christmas, Malcolm gave her a key to his house. "Not asking you to move in. Just saying you're always welcome. You have a place here." Simone gave him a framed photo of them at her construction site. "Thank you for being patient with me. For giving me time to heal. Thank you for letting me in." They spent the holiday with his kids, cooking dinner together, exchanging gifts, watching cheesy movies. It felt like family. Not perfect but real. On New Year's Eve, Simone stood on her balcony watching fireworks over Portland. Malcolm stood beside her, his arm around her shoulders. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "A year ago my life was falling apart. Now look where I am." "Where are you?" "Exactly where I'm supposed to be." "Any regrets?" Simone thought about it. Really thought about it. Did she regret the way things ended with Brandon? The public nature of it? The workplace complaint that destroyed his career? No. No regrets. I did what I had to do to protect myself and move forward. I don't regret that. Good. Because you're incredible. And anyone who couldn't see that doesn't deserve you. As midnight approached, Simone thought about Brandon one last time. Wondered if he was watching fireworks somewhere in Texas. Wondered if he ever thought about her. Wondered if he'd learned anything from what happened. Then she let it go. Let him go. Let all of it fade into the past where it belonged. The fireworks exploded overhead. Malcolm pulled her close and kissed her as the new year began. Simone kissed him back, tasting champagne and promise and possibility. This was her life now. Not the one she'd planned, but the one she'd built from the ruins of her marriage. Stronger, clearer, more authentically hers. And it was good. Really good. The fireworks continued. The city celebrated. And Simone celebrated too, not what she'd lost but everything she'd gained. She'd survived betrayal. She'd demanded justice. She'd rebuilt her entire life. And now she was ready for whatever came next. Because she knew now, with absolute certainty, that she could handle anything. She'd proven it to herself. She'd proven it to the world. Brandon had tried to break her. Instead, he'd freed her. And that was the greatest revenge of all. 1 year after catching Brandon at Rosewoods, Simone stood in front of a crowded auditorium giving a presentation. The architectural conference had invited her to speak about her Portland development project. 200 people sat in the audience, listening as she explained her design philosophy, her approach to urban integration, her vision for sustainable community spaces. She didn't feel nervous anymore. She felt confident, powerful, like she'd finally stepped into who she was always meant to be. After the presentation, several firms approached her with job offers. A company in Seattle, one in San Francisco, even one in New York. All of them wanted her expertise, her vision, her talent. She turned them all down. Portland was her home now. The project was her baby. She wasn't leaving. Malcolm met her for dinner that evening. "I heard your presentation was incredible." "You heard? You weren't there?" "I snuck in the back. Didn't want to make you nervous." "That's sweet. You were amazing up there. So confident. So assured. I was really proud." "Thank you." They ate at a nice restaurant overlooking the river. Malcolm had become her steady presence, the person she turned to when she needed support or just wanted company. They'd been together for 9 months now. Still not living together but growing closer every day. "I've been thinking," Malcolm said. "About us." Simone's stomach tightened. "Okay. I'm not trying to rush you. I know you need time after everything. But I want you to know that I'm serious about this. About you. About us building something real." "I'm serious too." "Are you?" "Because sometimes I wonder if you're keeping one foot out the door. Like you're waiting for me to turn into Brandon." Simone set down her fork. "That's not fair." "I'm not trying to be unfair. I'm just being honest. You've built walls. I understand why. But if we're going to move forward, you have to let me in fully." "I have let you in." "Have you?" "Because you still won't talk about the divorce. You deflect whenever I ask about your past. It's like there's a whole part of you that's locked away." Simone looked at him. Really looked at him. He was right. She'd shared the facts but not the feelings. She'd told him what happened but not how it destroyed her. She'd shown him her present but hidden her pain. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I'm scared that if I let myself be vulnerable again, I'll get hurt again." "I can't promise you won't. Life doesn't work that way. But I can promise I'll never lie to you. I'll never cheat. I'll always respect you. Isn't that worth the risk? What if it's not enough? What if I'm too damaged?" "You're not damaged. You're healing. There's a difference." Malcolm reached across the table and took her hand. "I'm not asking you to trust blindly. I'm just asking you to try. To take a chance on us." Simone felt tears prick her eyes. She blinked them back. "Okay. I'll try. That's all I'm asking." The next week, Simone did something she'd been avoiding for a year. She called a therapist, set up an appointment, decided to actually process what had happened instead of just moving past it. Dr. Martinez was in her 40s, warm and understanding. The first session, Simone told her everything. The affair. The divorce. The revenge. The move to Portland. How do you feel about what you did? Dr. Martinez asked. The workplace complaint. The consequences Brandon faced. I feel justified. Like he deserved it. But also sometimes I wonder if I went too far. Do you think you went too far? I don't know. He lost his career. His reputation. Everything. And he chose to have an affair. He chose to lie. He chose to steal from your joint accounts. Did you force him to make those choices? No. Then you didn't go too far. You simply held him accountable for his own actions. But I could have let it go. I could have just divorced him quietly. You could have. But would that have felt right to you? Simone thought about it. No. It wouldn't have. Then you did what you needed to do. Not for revenge but for justice. There's a difference. Over the next few months, therapy helped Simone understand herself better. Helped her see that her response to betrayal didn't make her vindictive. It made her strong. She'd refused to be a victim. She'd demanded consequences. She'd rebuilt her life. That was something to be proud of, not ashamed of. Her relationship with Malcolm deepened. She started staying at his house more often, meeting his friends, attending family dinners, building a life with him slowly but surely. One evening, his daughter Emma cornered her in the kitchen. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you love my dad? Simone paused. It was such a direct question. Such an important question. I care about him very much. That's not the same thing. No, it's not. But I'm getting there. I just need time. He loves you. You know that, right? I know. Don't hurt him. He's been through enough with our mom. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm just trying to figure out my own heart. Emma nodded. Okay, that's fair. But just so you know, we like you. Jack and me. We think you're good for him. Thank you. That means a lot. 14 months after the divorce, Derek got married to Lisa. He sent Simone a photo from the wedding. They both looked radiantly happy. Derek, tied the knot today. Thanks for helping me get here. Simone, congratulations. You both look amazing. Derek, never thought I'd find someone who makes me this happy. But here we are. Simone, you deserve it. She showed the photo to Malcolm. He seems really happy. Are you jealous? No, just happy for him. He went through the same thing I did. It's good to see him thriving. Do you think you'll get married again? Eventually? Simone looked at Malcolm. I don't know. Marriage doesn't mean what it used to mean to me. What does it mean now? It means promises that might get broken. Vows that might not last. Risk that might not be worth taking. That's pretty cynical. That's reality. At least my reality. Malcolm was quiet for a moment. What if I told you I wanted to marry you someday? Not now. But eventually. What would you say? Simone's breath caught. I'd say I'm not ready for that conversation. When will you be ready? I don't know. Maybe never. Never? I don't know if I can make those promises again, Malcolm. I don't know if I believe in them anymore. So what are we doing? Just dating indefinitely? No future? We're building something. I just don't know what shape it'll take. Malcolm looked hurt but nodded. Okay, I can accept that for now. But Simone, eventually you're going to have to decide. Am I worth the risk or not? That conversation stayed with Simone for weeks. She thought about it during work, during therapy, during quiet moments alone. Was Malcolm worth the risk? Was anyone worth the risk? The answer came unexpectedly during a site visit to her construction project. She stood in what would become the Central Plaza, surrounded by rising buildings. Her vision was becoming reality. Something she'd created was changing the landscape, improving lives, making a difference. She'd taken a risk moving to Portland. She'd taken a risk starting over. She'd taken a risk opening her heart to Malcolm, even just a little. And all those risks had paid off. Maybe love was the same. A risk, a gamble, a leap of faith. Brandon had broken that faith, but maybe Malcolm could restore it. That evening she went to his house, found him cooking dinner for his kids, stood in the doorway watching this man who'd been so patient, so kind, so steady. I love you, she said. Everyone stopped, turned to look at her. Malcolm set down the spatula. What? I love you. I'm not ready to talk about marriage. I might never be, but I love you. And I want to build a future with you, whatever that looks like. Malcolm crossed the kitchen and pulled her into a hug. That's all I needed to hear. Emma and Jack cheered. Simone laughed, feeling lighter than she had in years. She'd loved Brandon once. She trusted him. He destroyed that. But she was choosing to love again. To trust again. Not blindly but carefully. Not naively but hopefully. Because staying closed off forever wasn't living. It was just surviving. And Simone was done just surviving. 18 months after catching Brandon, Simone got an email from an unknown address. She almost deleted it as spam, but something made her open it. From Brandon Fletcher, subject: I'm sorry, Simone. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I know I don't deserve your time or attention. But I needed to tell you something. I'm sorry. Not just for the affair. For everything. For lying. For stealing. For taking you for granted. For blaming you when it was all my fault. I've been in therapy for 6 months. Working through why I did what I did. Trying to understand how I became that person. And I've realized that I hurt you in ways I can't ever fix. You deserved better. You deserved honesty and loyalty and respect. I gave you none of those things. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't expect it. I just wanted you to know that I understand now. I understand what I destroyed. And I'm sorry. I hope you're happy. I hope you built a good life. You always deserved one. Brandon. Simone read it 3 times. Then she closed her laptop. She didn't respond. Didn't need to. Brandon's apology was for him, not for her. It was part of his healing process, his therapy homework. She was glad he was working on himself. But she didn't need his apology to move forward. She'd already moved forward. That night, she told Malcolm about the email. Do you think I should respond? Do you want to? Not really. What would I even say? Then don't. You don't owe him anything. Not even acknowledgement. Part of me wants to tell him I'm happy now. That I'm thriving. That he didn't break me. He already knows that. The fact that you didn't respond is all the answer he needs. Simone nodded. Malcolm was right. The email sat unanswered in her inbox. Eventually she archived it. Not deleted but put away. A reminder that the past existed but didn't control her present. 2 years after the divorce, Simone's Portland project was completed. The grand opening drew hundreds of people. City officials. Business leaders. Residents who'd soon call these buildings home. Simone stood at the ribbon-cutting ceremony, scissors in hand. Malcolm beside her. Jerome and Rochelle in the crowd. This was her moment. Her achievement. Her proof that she'd not just survived betrayal but thrived beyond it. She cut the ribbon. Everyone cheered. Later, at the reception, a young woman approached her. Miss Fletcher, I just wanted to say thank you. I'm moving into one of the apartments here. It's beautiful. You've created something special. Thank you. That means everything. The woman left and Simone stood looking out at the space she'd created. This building, this plaza, these homes would outlast her. Would impact lives she'd never meet. Would stand as proof that destruction didn't have to be the end. Could be the beginning. Malcolm found her on the balcony overlooking the plaza. How are you feeling? Proud. Really proud. You should be. This is incredible. Thank you for being here. For supporting me through all of this. Where else would I be? They stood in comfortable silence, watching people explore the new development. Families, couples, individuals starting new lives in these spaces Simone had designed. I've been thinking, Malcolm said. About what you said. About not being ready for marriage. Malcolm. Let me finish. I've been thinking that maybe marriage isn't the point. Maybe the point is just choosing each other every day. Building a life together. Making it official or not making it official, that's just paperwork. What matters is the commitment. You're okay with that? Never getting married. I'm okay with us. However that looks. I'd marry you tomorrow if you want it. But if you don't, I'm still here. Still choosing you. Simone turned to face him. You're a good man, Malcolm. I'm a man who loves you. That's all. I love you too. They kissed as the sun set over Portland, over the buildings Simone had designed, over the life she'd built from the ashes of her marriage. Brandon was somewhere in Texas living his life. Candace was in North Carolina living hers. Derek was married and happy. Jerome and Rochelle were thriving. And Simone was here. In Portland. In love. In her career. In her life. She'd wanted revenge and she'd gotten it. But more than that, she'd gotten justice. She'd gotten consequences. She'd gotten proof that actions mattered. Brandon had cheated. He'd lied. He'd stolen. And he'd lost everything because of it. Simone had held him accountable. Had refused to be a victim. Had demanded better. And she'd built something beautiful from the wreckage. That was the real victory. Not his suffering. But her thriving. As the evening wound down and guests began to leave, Simone took one last look at her project. Her legacy. Her proof that betrayal didn't have to break you. It could make you stronger, clearer, more certain of what you deserved. And what Simone deserved was everything good. Everything beautiful. Everything she'd created for herself. Malcolm took her hand. Ready to go home? Yes. Let's go home. They walked to his car together. Partners. Equals. Two people who'd both been hurt and chose to love anyway. The story that had started with a text message at a restaurant ended here. In Portland. At a ribbon-cutting ceremony. With Simone having everything she'd fought for. Not revenge, but justice. Not bitterness, but peace. Not destruction, but creation. She'd survived. She'd thrived. She'd won. And as they drove through the Portland streets toward Malcolm's house, toward the life they were building together, Simone smiled. Because the best revenge wasn't seeing Brandon suffer. It was living so well that he became irrelevant. And that's exactly what she'd done.